I'm excited to welcome in ESPN NFL writer and analyst Matt Bowen to have a chat with us today. Matt, your career goes along to the early 2000s where you spent some time with our new defensive coordinator, Ed Donatell. What did you like about playing for Coach Donatell in your days?
Well, I love playing for Ed, and that was in 2001 and 2002 up in Green Bay with the Packers. And look, the thing about coaching, whether you're doing it at the high school level, college, or on Sundays in the NFL, is are you a good teacher, right, Tatum? Are you a good teacher? And look, everyone has a student. I'm sure you're the same as me. Had a teacher you loved in high school or college or even graduate school that you really gravitated to because of how they commanded the room, the attention they gave to you, and the hands-on teaching you got. And that's the same thing in football. Coaching is the same as teaching. It's just in a different environment. You work on the grass instead of in the classroom. And that's how I look at Ed Donatell. He's not a coach that just puts the scheme up on the board and says, this is what we're going to do. No, he's going to teach you how to do it. And we see it all the time right now, Tatum, on social media. If you look, and there's all this coaching stuff on social media, and that's great. And there's a lot of guys and that can put stuff on a chalkboard, but can you teach it to the player? Can you see that player develop and see the production come on the field? And you will get that with Ed Donatell.
He mentions that a lot, Matt, actually. He talks about wanting to be a teacher to these players and giving them the why so that they can understand their assignments better or understand this scheme better. What is it about the way that Donatell teaches that's made his career last this long?
I think it's also, the coaches he's worked with. Just go back the past couple of years. And when you're here in Chicago with Vic Fangio and then in Denver with Vic Fangio, you learn so much when you're working with a great coordinator like Vic Fangio. You learn different techniques, you learn different schemes. I think they're going to be very multiple in Minnesota. We talked earlier about what to expect from this defense. I think the term is multiple. You're going to see split safety coverages. You're going to see single high coverages. You're going to see 3-man fronts, 4-man fronts, 5-man fronts. They're going to be a defense that ultimately what you want to get to is that you dictate the tempo and the tone of the football game. And usually that starts in the secondary. I'm a little biased as a former safety, but then it works its way up front. And you will get that from Ed because he's been around so many different coordinators, head coaches in his career, and he's commanded top-level defenses. And I can tell you when we were in Green Bay, and I understand it's a long time ago, okay? People have to understand that football was played before like 2017, okay? There was good football back in the 2000s too, right? Those defenses were fast. They were aggressive.
Yeah, they were.
Taking the football away was a number one priority of that defense. And creating field position for the offense and Brett Favre. So I believe strongly in Ed Donatell, and it tells you a lot, Tatum, that he's still coaching and still coaching at a high level, okay? And how long he's been in this league and how many great players he's worked with, how many great teams he's been a part of, and how many great coaches he's worked with. His resume is outstanding.
I think that's one of the biggest questions is what will they see from Coach Ed Donatell on this Vikings defense? But in the draft, there were a lot of needs, I guess, heading into this offseason for the Vikings, especially defensively after the way things went last season. They take Lewis Cine in the first round, a safety, which shocked a few fans. What do you like about Lewis Cine, and do you like the pick?
Well, I love the pick because of a couple of reasons. One, from a coaching perspective, I want that guy. I want him in my secondary room, okay? Because he is a tone setter. Okay, he is an ultimate tone setter in terms of how when you turn on the tape and watch him play, there's an urgency about him, Tatum.
Here comes the pressure, ball out, and Cine was there to make a clutch play.
And that is so important when it comes to secondary play. Are you urgent? Do you see it fast? And when you believe it, do you go make the play? He does that consistently. He's a top-down player. What I mean by that, Tatum, he's at his best when the ball is in front of him. And with Ed Donatell, what he's done in the past, what he did with Vic, the past 2 stops with Vic Fangio in Chicago and Denver, a lot of split safety where those safeties, it'll be Cine and Harrison Smith, have the ball in front of them. They can jump routes, they can cut crossers, they can fill the alley as run defenders. And I think when you have someone like Cine, that creates energy for your entire football team. It really does. He can make plays on the ball, we understand that, but also what he brings in terms of building a new defensive identity and new defensive culture, I think it's an excellent pick.
You write for ESPN, you're an analyst for ESPN, but you also still coach. You're a DB's coach over at IC Catholic Prep. And I guess I want to get into your coaching mind, if you would. And what do you like, or what will be the challenges for this Vikings secondary this season?
Well, the challenge is you're going to have some new personnel back there, right? You also drafted Andrew Booth, cornerback out of Clemson. But you're going to have new faces in the secondary. And the secondary, along with the offensive line, are the two most important groups when it comes to playing together and establishing a line of communication. You know, if you're in a single high defense, who's playing in the post, who's rolling down, can you disguise and rotate late? It takes a lot of repetition, a lot of growth throughout the offseason and training camp.
And then you've got guys like Harrison Smith and Patrick Peterson as anchored vets in that room as well. However, there is a lot of youth on this defensive roster. Is there a name that sticks out to you as someone that could have a breakout season, and why?
I don't know if it's a breakout season, but, you know, adding players via free agency is obviously very important every year. And you look for players that fit, that have versatility. Obviously, Zadarius Smith. And everyone knows Zadarius Smith played, you know, the last couple of years in Green Bay. You know, had an injury last year. But if he's healthy, if he's healthy, that is the type of defensive player, and I use the term, who has multi-dimensional traits. With Zadarius Smith, you know he's a power rusher off the edge. He's got good counter moves. He's active with his hands. But with Zadarius Smith, you can kick him inside. He can play as a stand-up defensive tackle. He can play as a stand-up nose like he did in Green Bay. He can drop off the ball. So that's someone, when you're thinking from a coaching perspective and Ed Donatel's perspective, that you can use his versatility to create matchups for him, or scheme matchups for him. I think that's where the league's really going right now. If you look at defensive fronts, how they're schemed, and what you're trying to do there is either set up twists or stunts, but really get the one-on-one you want. It's no different than offensive football. We talk about it all the time. You know, can we get this wide receiver open? You know, can we get Justin Jefferson in the matchup we want? You know, it's the same thing from defense, especially up front. Is there a guard or tackle we consistently attack? And how do we do that? We need someone with versatility to do that. That could be Zadarius Smith.
Well, we're excited to have Zadarius. He's been already a difference maker. Just seeing him alongside Danielle Hunter has made it very exciting for Vikings fans this coming season. But thank you so much to ESPN's Matt Bowen for joining us. Matt, you got to come out here to Eagan and come out to the practice facility. Check out a practice sometime. I
would love to do that. You know, the last time I was there was, you know, think about this, and you could tell I'm older. The last time I was there was playing the Vikings in the Metrodome. Okay, so yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah. Yes, you definitely have to come check everything out. We appreciate you spending the time with us today, and always looking forward to your insight over on ESPN.com.